Well, hi, a very warm welcome to Dusty Shelf. I do hope I find you well. Today, a pair of black fives. So both of these have been sitting on the bench for a little while in various states of repair. So this one here, this is a loco driven loco, so we've got the motor sitting inside the loco. This does run, it's just a little bit lethargic, so I think this probably just needs a good service. This one's going to be the primary focus of this video, which is a tender driven loco. So we've got the motor sitting in the tender here. But this does need a little bit of TLC. As you can see, there's no movement in the wheels at all, so this is all locked up. And yeah, indeed, a complete non-runner. This one's actually another one from my uncle's collection, so yeah, just arrived, but not working at all. But as I say, it's been had this one sitting on the back of the bench for a little while as a sort of partial runner. So anyway, let's take them over to the track as I always do, show you what they're doing, then we'll bring them back over here. And I think I'll focus on the non-runner to start with, see if we can get that running a little bit better, and then turn our attention to the loco driven, this more modern version, and yeah, see if we can get that performing a little bit better. Right, so tender driven loco on the track first of all. Just put the power on, and you can see I have got absolutely nothing there. No power, no buzzing. So I have no idea what that is. Might hopefully something quite simple, but yeah, we'll go and have a look at that in a moment. Right, let me just switch over and I'll put the loco driven loco on. Right, so this is the other one in question. Just to clarify what I mean by loco driven, the motor is actually in the loco part, not in the tender. Right, let me just apply a little bit of power. And there you can hear it's a little bit squeaky, but it is a runner, so I say it's a runner, it's not working now. Let's try it again. Yeah, no, it does want to go. I think it just needs a good service. So this one hopefully should be fairly straightforward. Open it up, give it a clean, and see how we go. But the other one's going to be a little bit more challenging. Well, as you can see, this is a complete non-runner. So let's pop this to one side. Let's pop the motor to one side, and let's have a look at the motion and see if we can see why this isn't turning at all. So we've got a little bit of bending on the mechanisms there, but it does feel like the wheels are completely locked. I'll tell you what, let's get the body off this and let's have a look what we've got inside. It does feel something, feels like it's clamped down on the wheels. Right, let's take that off. Let's relieve, or if I take the mechanism off of there, I think that could be a problem. Maybe I'll just undo this a little bit. I wonder if one of the bearings has been clamped. This is never the best idea to disturb the motion, because they very rarely go back together very straightforwardly, if that's a word. Right, slide that forward, so that's not going to help me. And as I say, all the motion's dropped out now. I'll just check the wheels are still locked. Yes, they are. Okay. Right, so this centre wheel is completely seized. So let's try and prise it off. That's that one out. This bearing's all jammed on this side. Cool. Let's try the prising from here. Well, the axle is really seized. Right, let's get a hammer, tap that through. Looks like it's been glued. Look at that. There's some sort of glue on there. Okay, well, we can clean that out. At least it's rotating, the other two axles are moving. Okay, let's get it cleaned out. Let's grab a little bit of emery cloth. Still needs a little bit more cleaning in the holes. Just drop this in the drill. Cleaned up that side quite nicely. Let's do the other side. Okay. Hopefully that's done it. Ah, much better. Perfect. Right, so now I need to get the wheels back on. Right, that's that side back on. Right, this side, it's all come apart on me. So, I need to do the opposite. This goes on there. This one goes on there. And then the screw sits on top. So I have actually put this in up the wrong way, so I'm just going to change that over. how we put this back together. So this goes onto the slot cross slider like so. Okay. Same on this side. Onto the cross slider. Right, well, I'll stop the camera for a moment there because getting the motion back in on these locos always an absolute pain. You need about 6 pairs of hands trying to get both the sliders in on the front and this located at the back all at the same time whilst holding the other side. You need to locate 6-7 things all at the same time, and yeah, always difficult. And thankfully my wife came in and helped me and back together. So freeing up that center wheel, the motion's now freely rotating. I have given it a little oil, just using my oil there around the bearings, and yeah, running nice and freely now. So I still need to give the body a clean, so I'll do that in a moment. Let's turn our attention to the tender. What have we got in here? So standard Hornby motor there. Let's drop it out and let's give it a good clean. See what we can see in here. The weight off, counterweight off first, so let's see what's actually in here. Okay, we have it geared on one side, and I can see the motor and the brushes. Not seen a motor like this before. That's yeah, something a little bit different to normal, but shouldn't be too difficult. How do we get this out? Like the wire's just it's the only thing holding it in. Interesting. Oh, I see, of course, because when you screw the counterweight on, then it holds the top in place. Right, I think I'm just going to take the side off this motor and give it a clean and see what's inside here. Let's say it's just a slight variation on what we'd normally see. Pull these out. Oh, yeah, just a very messy motor. Looks as though it just needs a little bit of a clean on the armature there, and a little bit of grease up and oil. Try and get these bearings to run a little bit smoother. Yeah, don't plan to do too much with that. Brushes to one side, and let me get some cleaning fluid. Right, so I have here my WD-40 contact cleaner. It's not WD-40 oil, it is, as it says here, contact cleaner. I'm just going to give this a spray in here. Now, this really does bring up all the electrical components lovely on these old locos. Get the worst off the armature here. Actually, I'm just going to grab a bit of cloth as well. I'm just going to get the worst of this off with a tiny, very fine emery cloth. Being very careful not to touch the electrical connections, the solder connections. So my cleaner took some of it off, but it's not getting in deep enough. So let's say just very, very gently going over the surface with this very gentle emery cloth, just to bring the surface back to life. That's that one done. One more. Don't want to do too much, just enough. that'll do. Let's give this another clean. There's still muck coming off of it, that's good. Okay, that'll do. A little bit around the bearing. As I say, I don't want to do too much to this. Now, popping the bearings back in. I'll just clean this side off. That's it. Right, so popping the brushes back on here. Don't know if there's an easy way of doing these ones. Seem to have caps pushed over them. Slide those off. As I say, this is a slightly different take on the normal motors that are in here. So let's pop this back on. The side of the motor back on here. That's it. Tighten this down. In terms of the pickups, how does this actually pick up? Plastic wheels. It's obviously picking up through these two here. I see. Right, so that should all be okay. We've got the connections in there. Let's clean these brushes off. Let's just give this brush a little clean off. Okay. That goes into there like so. If it'll go, oh, I've dropped it. Okay, that goes into there. Like that. That's that side in. This side, just give the brush a little clean. Drop that in there. And again the same thing here. Just push this down onto there. Okay, brushes are in. Wheels are relatively clean. Let's give the mechanism a good oil. Oil all of the bearings. I think these are oiling points on the bottom here by the look of it. Side. Okay, right, let's slide this back through the body. It'll go. I think maybe this way round. Yeah, that's a little bit better. I'll say that. Oh, there it goes. Right, let's go and give this a little try. Actually, I'm just going to clean the pickup in here first. As I say, we'll go and give this a try. See if we get any luck, see if we get any movement with the loco now. Right, take it over to the track. Okay, it's on the track. Give it a little bit of power. And nothing, just give it a little nudge. Oh, yep, so it does want to go now. it just seems to be sticking a little bit. So I do wonder if it's actually the connector. Yeah. So I'm going to go and give the connector in between the loco and the train another little clean, because that seems to be the problem. Give that a good clean out. I'm going to undo the screw here, clean that as well, and then get the counterweight back on the back here, and we'll come and give it another go in a moment. Well, all I've done is taken the drawbar completely off. You can see the screw head there. I've cleaned that off, cleaned all round where the screw sits, and cleaned the pin, and as you can see now, a little bit of power, and off it goes. It is still sticking now and again. There it goes, just very, very slightly. It's straight away on camera, but I've had it running backwards and forwards, and it's not as temperamental as when I first put it on the track. So clearly a little bit of sticking in the joint between the tender and the loco, and with the weight on the tender there, running along absolutely lovely. So I think what I'm going to do with this one, I'm just going to go and give the body a clean off. In fact, let's go back over to the bench. I'll show you the body before I go and clean it. So I just thought I'd show you the grime that's on this body. And so I'm just going to give it a clean over with some soapy water. The tender's just as bad. Hopefully this will come up absolutely lovely. Go and give that a clean with soapy water and the back of the tender there as well. And yeah, we'll get this loco back together and move our attentions onto the tender driven loco. Right, let's just see how this body's come out. Oh, perfect. Look how much better that is. It's almost new. I'll just wipe a little bit more of the moisture off. The rest of it can dry as we put it back together. Lovely. That's come out really well. Tender looks just as good. Getting all the dust off of it. So pop the tender body back on like so. Just clips on. Oh, there's a wire hanging out the side. Let's just tuck that back in like that. Put that back on. And I did notice that I'd knocked the vacuum pipe off, so I'll just glue that back on the back of the tender. Right, that's that done. And loco body back on, so we just hook it in at the front, and then just this screw at the rear. Oh, and just move that side of the steps, and tighten that down. Lovely, one Black 5 loco restored. So let's move our attentions on to the loco driven model. This one again, it's got a connection between the loco and the tender for pickups. We'll come to those in a minute. This is a Hornby model. I believe they're both Hornby actually, but this one's actually got markings on the bottom that tells me it's Hornby. Ooh, what have we got in here? So this one is chipped. There is definitely a chip in here, tucked up into the nose of the loco. Now I'm not going to take that out because it's actually working. A lot of the locos that I've picked up from sort of my grandfather have had chips inside them, and what I've done is I've actually removed those chips, put them back to analog, but this one's actually working, so we'll leave that as is. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull the motor off of here, I think, just so that I can have a look and see how free running the motion is. Right, I'm just going to try and drop the motor off to see how free running the motion is. Also give the motor a little clean if I can. Right, so that's coming away nicely, and the motor, I think I might have to take the cowling off by the look of it. And do this very gently. Right, that's the cowling out, that's the motor free. Now looking at what's in here, ooh, lots of old grease and oil in there. So how free is the motion? Oh, it's fairly free. That is extremely free. So maybe it's just running slowly because of the way the CVs are set up. Yeah, I don't really want to do too much to this, to be honest. Maybe give it a good old oil. Let's have a look at this oil grease in here. Oh no, grease isn't too bad. I don't think we need quite so much in there, but let's give it a little bit of oil around the bearings and see if that frees it up a little bit more before I put it back together. Okay, let's pop this back in. I'm not going to clean it too far out. As I say, it doesn't seem to be overly bad. Right, let's get that cowling back on. There was a little electrical connection to make as well in there. I'll make sure I do that. Back on the back of the motor. Right, I'll just give the bearings on the wheels a little oil. Okay, right, and then in terms of the pickups, this has got a dual pickup here, so you've got one through the top of the tender connection and one through the bottom, so I'm going to clean both of them off. Do the top one first. Make sure these are nice and clean. Side. Right, let's just blend those up so they make a good positive connection. Okay, and then in terms of these lower ones, a little bit more difficult to get to. There we go. That one done. That one done. Bend those in to make a good connection with the tender. And then in terms of the tender, I'm just going to clean sure these are nice and clean either side. Okay, right, let's drop this back over. Oh, I was going to oil the tender as well because that's making a little bit of noise, but I think it's probably the pickups on here. I'm not going to touch those, that's for sure. Right. Okay, right, let's pop this back over to the track and see if that's made any difference. Probably not, but hopefully it'll be running a little bit smoother. Well, it's certainly a better runner, but there's a lot of squeaking still coming from the tender, so I'll try and get the body off the tender. There's a screw there. I want to go and clean the body anyway, so let's drop this off of here if it will come. That's it. And let's drop this weight off, because I'm hoping we can see where the pickups are and do that. As I say, with my videos, these are just me enjoying the hobby, making it up as I go along. So yeah, there's pickups either side. I think I might give the wheels a quick clean anyway. Let me just grab one of these cotton buds. There's not a lot coming off of them. It's nice and clean. Might drop this plate out and let's have a look. Spending a couple of minutes here could pay dividends. Right, let's drop the base plate off the loco, and hopefully in here we'll be able to have a good look at the pickups. Try and see why they're rasping. Okay, let's just unclip the back of the loco. Doesn't want to come. Why not? Ah, there's a hidden screw underneath the coupling. Right, there we go. Okay, that's out of there. So let's have a look what we've got. Wheel-wise, these seem pretty clean. I don't really want to disturb these because they've got like an anodised coating on them, so I certainly don't want to run any emery cloth over them. But in terms of the surface, they all look pretty clean. In terms of the pickups, they look pretty good. I will give them a good wipe over just to be sure. There's not really much coming off them. Someone must have... And the same thing, nothing coming off of them. No dirt on the wheels at all. Okay. Right, in terms of the pickups, I don't think these need a great deal either. I might just bend a couple of them, put a little bit more tension on them, just to aid with the way they're picking up. put these wheels back in. Back wheel. Okay, middle wheel. And this end wheel. And the base plate. Just tighten these back down. Oh, that's the one. Is it on there? Get them first. Okay, that's the wheels back in with the contacts on them. I'll slide my coupling back in here. That's it. Okay, and the weight back on the top. Right, before I take this over to track sheet, what it's doing, I'm going to go and clean the body, put the body back onto it, because to be fair, it is pretty clean already, and runs pretty well. So I'll go and clean the body, put the body back on, and then we'll take both locos over and I'll just show you them running back and forth on the track. That screw came out there, didn't it? That's it, like that. Okay. That's relatively free running. Okay, it won't be a moment. Let me go and give this body a clean. Again, you can see on here, if I just bring this up to the camera, you can see the grounding dust, just where it's been sitting. A few marks on the back of the cab there. I might try and get those off. I don't know what they are, but yeah, see if we can get those away. Clean the cab up. Well, that's cleaned up, an absolute treat. So I'm going to pop that back on. How did this go on? It's a clip at the back there. Let's just get that underneath there and pop the tender coupling back on. Right, and then we had a screw in this side at the front. Just drop that in there, and then the loco body, the decoder up inside the smoke box, and then clips on at the rear. I think there's just those two tabs go underneath the body at this end. Let me just make sure I get those located. That's it. And a screw at the front here. Let's try again. Well, hopefully, unless I've disturbed something, putting the body back on this one, we now have two functioning Black 5s. So I'm going to take these over to the track, give them one last run, and yeah, close out this video. Right, so in the foreground we have the loco driven Black 5. Let me just apply a little bit of power. Beautifully smooth, absolutely wonderful control. Nice and quiet, really smooth running loco. Little bit of squeak from the pickups in the tender, but there's not a lot I can do about that. So this one just basically needed a little bit of an oil, I think, just to clean and move some of the old grease that's gone a little bit hard inside out of there, and just a clean of the between the pickups and the tender, and that's running wonderfully. And then over the back here we've got the tender driven Black 5. A little bit noisier for its age, but now running absolutely beautifully. So with this one, when I looked inside, this middle wheel was all completely seized. Freeing that wheel up, I'm guessing what had happened is over time either that had got stuck or wasn't working. Looked like there was actually some glue in there, so maybe at some time there's some glue residue had got in there, but it was seized anyway. And I think because of that seizing, it's then overheated the motor, and we've seen all that sort of build up of muck on the armature and in between the brushes. So a little clean on there has brought that back to life, and now that's a lovely little runner. So yeah, both of these Black 5s back on the track, and both looking superb. And indeed, you know, both of them have cleaned the bodies up. On this one, there was all that muck on the top of the roof. That all came off lovely. So they're both looking really well presented, and yeah, lovely little models. So pleased to see both of those back on the track. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up, and why not check out the channel. Lots on here, and if you can subscribe, I'd be really, really grateful. And with that, I'm going to leave this one there. Say thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.